It's a milestone that in some of your families, you actually may be the first. But I hope that this is one of many milestones that you're going to cross in the years ahead. It's also a day of thank yous. And I'd like you to give a big hand to your parents. I know full well the sacrifices that your parents make every single day so that you can have a better life. Many of them work 2 and 3 jobs. They struggle to make ends meet. They work as hard as they do because they want the best for you. They've supported you in your education because they know that an education can make the difference between night and day in your life. They want the best for you. And so we thank them today because you're not finished yet. You see, this is, as I said, one milestone, but there are many more to cross. And every time you cross a milestone, even if you're not asked, I hope you say thank you to your parents. I wanted to partner with Stevenson and Roosevelt and Hollenbach because this is the community that I grew up in. Because I know full well how hard your families work so that you'll have a better life. My mother worked like that too. She rode a bus her whole life. She never owned her home. But she always said to her kids, you know, mijo, you can be anything you want to be, but you got to get an education. She always pushed her kids, just like their parents did. The second group of people I want you to thank, and I'd like them to stand up, are the teachers and the staff here at the school. Other than your parents, in the school, there are no more important people than the people who just stood up. I thought it was a beautiful thing to hear Principal Gonzalez saying, I have 3 kids at home and 467 here at Stevenson. Now, the teachers here and the other staff aren't going to get an opportunity to get here and speak to you. But let me tell you, they've had to make a lot of sacrifices over the last 3 years. Cuts at the state level, cut after cut after cut. Many of them have lost pay. Some of them are looking at layoffs. And they come to work every day anyway. And they do. Because they care about you, and because they believe in you, and because they're professionals, and they take pride in their profession. So I want to say thank you to our teachers. Thank you. And I want to say a few more things. You know, it was mentioned in my introduction that I'm the first in 133 years, the first American and Mexican descent to be elected mayor of a city that's always had Mexicans and Latinos here. A city founded by Mexican settlers more than 225 years ago. A city whose future, in no small part, is dependent on our ability to educate the majority of the city. And the majority of people who live in the city are now Latinos. And the reason why this partnership is so important and getting behind our public schools is so important right now is if this city is going to be the great city that is destined to be, we got to lift the bar. We got to set the standard higher. We got to reach for the stars. And that's what we hope that you will do. You had an opportunity to show what you could do in middle school. Now, we're going to continue to challenge you in high school. So whether you go to Roosevelt or Garfield or Mendez or Oscar de la Hoya or Bravo Medical, wherever you go, keep on pushing yourself. We want to keep on pushing you. We want to set the bar higher and higher. Because you know what? This future, the future of this city is bright if we can educate our kids. The future of this city is unlimited if you can get the skills that you need to get a good job. If you can go on to college and even school after that. I believe that the role of the first is to open up the door for the rest. The role of the first is to say to every one of you that here in this auditorium, and I know this auditorium well, everybody, because I grew up in East LA. I went to Roosevelt High School. I went to East LA College. I went to law school. But some of you know that along the way, I had a lot of bumps along the way. I was kicked out of one school and dropped out of another. But you know what? I had a great mom. My mom pushed me. My mom kept on setting the bar high. And she kept on saying to me, Vivo, I believe in you. I believe in you, Vivo. And I want you to know that although I am not related to you by blood, you all are my mijos and my mijas, and I believe in you too. I believe in your destiny. I believe in your ability to go anywhere and do anything. Now, part of how I turned my life around, I was 15. And I was walking on a picket line with Cesar Chavez and Dolores Puerta at the Safeway on 4th and Soto. There used to be a Safeway there. I know it's not there anymore. I'm a lot older than even most of your parents. But I learned on that picket line, even at 15, I couldn't speak any Spanish, not a word. But I knew I had a responsibility to fight for those farm workers. I knew I had a responsibility to speak out for those campesinos. And today I was marching with them again. You might see it later on TV. I knew then, at 15, that my responsibility was to come back to my community, was to serve it. And I hope that the lesson that you learned here is that when you go on to high school and then hopefully college and you get a skill, you're going to remember that you also have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to come back, to make sure your brothers and sisters also graduate from middle school and high school, that they go on to college, that you open up the door and the horizons for another generation of our young people. That's the message. That's the lesson for all of us. It's a lesson that says, you know, my parents sacrificed for me, so the least I could do is be the best I could be. And when I get to that mountain and reach for that star, then I gotta bring somebody else up with me. So I want to congratulate you. I couldn't be prouder. I believe in you. And I want you to say something to me. I want you to scream out as loud as you can, I believe in me. I believe in me. All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I believe in you too. Thank you so much. And voy a hablar un poquito en español.